Okay, I've told you about the revolting, repulsive, sickening, stomach churning, foul, and nasty hypocrisy, Lewis, of Republican politicians voting against federal aid for natural disasters outside of their district and then asking for federal aid when something happens inside of their district. And one example from a year or so ago was Oklahoma Republicans who voted against federal aid for Hurricane Sandy victims in New York and New Jersey, and then asked for aid for tornado victims in their home state of Oklahoma. There are many examples, and I have one related to the flooding in Louisiana, which is that 3 Republicans in Louisiana who voted against supplemental aid for Hurricane Sandy now are demanding that the government give them flood relief money. I am talking about none other than Steve Scalise, Bill Cassidy, and John Fleming. Fiscal responsibility and a tight checkbook and small government, very, very important until it's your own district that's in trouble. And then the government needs to do the right thing to help people in their time of need, blah, 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 which, by the way, I agree with. I just agree with it when it's not just your own district that needs help. And they asked President Obama for a disaster declaration in a letter a few days ago. Of course, President Obama signed it. He declared it a disaster area. Fleming, Scalise, and Cassidy, by the way, are also climate change deniers, which, we could do an hour just on these 3 individuals. I actually don't support keeping aid away from the people of Louisiana, right? They deserve the aid. The problem is that the politicians should be punished for their utter hypocrisy. And I get it. You need to represent your district, but you also need to be morally consistent. Now, they've been asked for comment on this. They do have an explanation as to why they don't think they are being hypocritical here. And the explanation is, and this came from Steve Scalise's spokesperson, the money that they asked for under the disaster declaration was already appropriated by FEMA. The money's already there. It's just a matter of declaring Louisiana flooding a disaster area so that they can get the money. The Hurricane Sandy money was supplemental money above and beyond what had already been allocated. This is one of the stupidest explanations I've ever heard, because in both cases, you're talking about money that is at some point appropriated by a legislative decision. Yes, the FEMA money was previously appropriated. Hurricane Sandy required additional money. It's all money that our elected officials vote on. This explanation is so boneheaded that it's almost embarrassing that they're even saying this.
And they shouldn't have to, because the extent of the damage that caused by Hurricane Sandy, of course, was greater than what the allocated money would cover.
Of course.
And so it is hypocrisy. And also, I don't know these guys personally.
No,
of course,
I'm sure that they're the best people. Absolutely.
But I do know people like them. And I bet you that there's a chance that they are only asking for this money so that they can get reelected. And do they really care about their constituents?
I would like to think that they do, and that
I don't think they do.
You genuinely think they don't care at all about the individuals that vote for them as people.
I mean, how many stories have we covered over the years that made it very clear that politicians like this don't actually care about their constituents and just want to be in these positions and have their eyes set on higher office as well?
Are you as cynical, Jason, about all elected officials as is Lewis?
Yeah, that's why I'm still, I've been debating this. I'm still in the no vote camp. I'm staying home, I think, still in November. That's
dear
why,
God.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that. We'll have a conversation about that a little bit later. Please, by the way, start sending in the messages about why what Jason is saying is outrageous and he should vote in November, and I'll start compiling them. And we'll have plenty of time to deal with that, right? I mean, there's pressing matters now going on, including what's happening in Louisiana. Gamefly is sort of like Netflix for video games. They have over 8,000 new and classic games for Xbox One, Xbox 360, PS4, PS3, Wii, and a bunch of other platforms. And you can play as many games as you want for one monthly fee. And if you find some games you want to keep, you can buy them for a low used price. There's never any due dates or late fees. And our audience can get a free 30-day trial at gameflyoffer.com/TDPS. The games are shipped directly to you with return envelopes included. There's no contracts, and you can rent games through the mobile app. Get the free 30-day trial for the David Pakman Show audience and support our show by going to gameflyoffer.com/TDPS.